In 1974, the World's Fair was held in Spokane. That World's Fair gave birth to Riverfront Park. Stay tuned. Hey, thanks for stopping by. My name is Stephanie, and I've decided to start a YouTube channel. I'm a part of an active duty military family and currently reside in the eastern part of Washington State. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Peace. The inland Northwest observed tremendous change during the 1880s. The location where Riverfront Park currently sits today did not begin that way. Before Riverfront Park became a park, it was a vast landscape which was ultimately turned into a small manufacturing town. Homes were built on the rocky banks of the Spokane River before 1880, as the first Euro-American settlers claimed land and established homesteads along the South Channel. The Riverfront Park that we visit and enjoy today started taking shape and modernizing from that time, and since then, visionaries have turned a plot of land with a waterfall on it into a beautiful, breathtaking, and unforgettable experience. Riverfront Park was created right after the 6-month-long 1974 World's Fair, when structures that were used for the event were torn down and hauled away. It was decided that a new city park would take its place. 5 million people were in attendance. Most of the structures that were built specifically for Expo 74 were torn down or removed, but some structures remain, such as the carousel that is overlooking one of the lakes in the park inside of the Bavarian Beer Garden building. You can see it here, directly across the pond in this scene. This carousel was purchased by the Spokane Parks and Recreation Department after taking up community donations to purchase it from Natatorium Park, which shut down in 1968. This carousel was constructed in the year 1909 by Charles Lowoff, a famous maker of carousels in that day, as a gift for his daughter Emma and her husband Louis when his contract to sell the ride to Natatorium Park fell through. The carousel was built by hand. It took 2 years to construct all of the wooden animals and the structure itself. This carousel boasts 54 horses, a tiger, 2 chariots, and a giraffe. Riverfront Park sits on 100 acres of land, accompanied with lush waterfalls, ponds, lakes, and rivers. People have been gathering at the Spokane Falls for hundreds of decades. The earliest recorded people who gathered and fished from the falls were the Native Americans who were indigenous to the surrounding areas. Early Euro-American pioneers gathered in the late 1800s and ultimately settled the land which is now known as Spokane. During the time after the World's Fair in 1974, the Spokane River was cleaned and the rail yards were dismantled, removing the complex series of railroad tracks, freight cars, and locomotives. During this time of dismantlement, the Great Northern Railroad depot was also destroyed to make room for the new Riverfront Park. On May 5, 1978, President Jimmy Carter traveled to Spokane, Washington to deliver a dedication to Riverfront Park, citing, "This park is an achievement that would make any city proud, but you should also be especially proud of your Senator, Warren Magnuson, for the essential role he played in bringing this park into being." Senator Magnuson was instrumental in making Riverfront Park a reality. He helped secure federal grants to aid in the construction of the park. Without these secured funds, Riverfront Park would not have been a reality. Today, over 3 million people visit Riverfront Park each year, making it the most visited attraction in Spokane. The park, over time, has become the center of the region's gatherings. Currently, the park is undergoing a 5-year renovation that started in 2015. Riverfront Park is being upgraded and modernized so that generations to come can partake in its beauty and sophistication. Modified with a pair of hydroelectric diversion dams shown here, Spokane Riverfront Waterfall sits directly in the middle of Riverfront Park, right in downtown Spokane, Washington. This waterfall boasts 2 individual segments, the upper falls and the lower falls, that make up the single flow of water that can be observed at the end of this natural landform. The upper falls originally split between Canada Island, now renamed in Salish Senhumina, and took in water from the South Channel after the Monroe Street Dam was constructed. The split was directed into a single drop of water. The lower falls is said to originate from a narrower rocky descent, which ultimately pours over several smaller flowing drops. Both sections eventually combine together to form the massive Spokane Falls that are enjoyed by all who visit each year. The bridge you see here is named the Monroe Street Bridge, originally built from wood in 1881. Over a 10-year period, 5 bridges were built over this river. The first bridge that was constructed in 1888 was built specifically for cable cars. It burned in the month of July in 1890. A second bridge was constructed this time made of steel. A roller coaster dip was constructed in the middle of the bridge over the falls to create a thrill for passengers. On August 17, 1907, a Ringling Brothers circus came to town. When the elephants were prompted to cross the bridge, they refused. Later that year, the Monroe Street Bridge collapsed, developing a vibration after a mudslide. It has been said that the elephants that were prompted to cross the bridge earlier that year refused because they sensed that something was wrong with the bridge itself. The bridge that is currently standing today was opened on November 23, 1911. This bridge is over 100 years old and is still in service. If you look closely, you can see buffalo heads that were carved on the bridge's design. These markings represent the people who traveled on the Oregon Trail. The ancestors of the Spokane tribe of Indians settled and occupied most of the northeastern Washington lands, covering a vast 3 million acres. There were times where these indigenous people hunted and fished outside of their local surroundings. These extended hunting and fishing trips took them as far as Idaho and even into Montana. This group was one of the Salish-speaking tribes. Some words which were a part of their daily language include Spokane, which means sun, Sil, which means 5, and Simuum, which means woman. The Spokane tribe were considered river people. They fished, gathered, and hunted, living a partly nomadic way of life. The primary diet for the interior Salation group was fish and other animals native to the channels, streams, and rivers, which included salmon, steelhead, eel, and shellfish. These animals made up approximately 60% of their diet. The city of Spokane, Washington, is named after this tribe of people. The word Spokane means children of the sun or the sun people in the native language of the Plateau tribe Salation people. The ancestors of the Spokane people shared their land and their language with other tribes and followed a widely known nuclear family unit style of living to include the mothers and fathers' nearest families. Spiritually, the Salation people's indigenous values supported honoring the land, living things, wind, thunder, and animal spirits. The dwellings that these early tribal people lived in were extended and drawn out and were commonly half below ground and half above ground. Common tactics that were used for gathering berries and roots in the summers were to make camps on mountain valley fields and pastures. The tribes would construct temporary cone-shaped huts covered with mats for shelter. Today, some of the descendants from the Salation tribe live on the Spokane Tribe Reservation, located almost entirely in southern Stevens County and in northeastern Lincoln County along the Spokane River. The ride, currently known as the Numerica Sky Ride at Riverfront Park, Spokane, was previously known as the Gondola Lift Station, in which it was originally named during the 1974 World's Fair. The ride previously provided aerial views of the river, which was one of the main features of the fair at that time. Today, the purpose is still the same. The Numerica Sky Ride at Riverfront Park, Spokane, delivers continuous views of the upper and lower falls as it slopes slightly downward, following the falls until it reaches the end before starting back up the cable line. Before the ride comes to a halt and riders wander off to see what else the park has to offer, this amusement ride pauses halfway so that the passengers are able to watch the water fall over a series of deep vertical drops before continuing onward. This ride provides a 360-degree turn and slopes upward as it climbs back over the falls into the direction in which it came. Its riders enjoy the beauty of the landscape to include the natural, radiant serenity in which it provides. Tucked within the heavenly views of Spokane Falls a peaceful, serene, green paradise appears. Visitors use this section of Riverfront Park to spend time with their loved ones while watching the falls escape over the hard rock, creating a stream in which these onlookers can enjoy. Visitors and residents can be seen walking, playing with their children, enjoying picnics, reading books, taking pictures, and socializing. Often, other tourists and residents can be found resting here in between their exploration activities before setting off down another trail or exploring the park in a new direction entirely. This public work of art you see here is named The Joy of Running Together and was constructed in honor of the annual Bloomsday Run that is held in Spokane each year. This art is located near the finish line and is meant to inspire all that participate in this running event. There are 40 life-size statues in total, and each one was purposefully crafted from an athlete using a bright light and tracing technique. David Govadair chose athletes from all ages, nationalities, and ethnicities to encourage unity and inclusion. Each figure cost $1,500 to make, which was gifted by sponsors from the community. The Lilac Bloomsday Run began in 1977 and is held on the first Sunday in May each year. Okay, guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel and what I do. I'm super excited to get this thing off the ground. Remember, good things come to those who wait.